Conceive, believe, achieve.
This is former UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael Bisping.
Paddy the Baddy here. You're listening to Combat Sports UK.
And you're watching Combat Sports UK.
Rob Smith for Combat Sports UK, and delighted to be joined by a friend of the channel and Cage Warriors Academy champion, Dacre Bradley. Dacre, how are we, mate?
Yeah, doing good. In another fight week. Excited to get back in there. Yeah, it looks like things are falling into place, and big end to the year.
It feels like every time we talk, the stakes of the fight get bigger and bigger, and that's how it should go as an amateur. And like this is, I'm assuming you agree, this is the biggest fight of your career. This is a huge fight for you.
Yeah, undoubtedly. Obviously, fighting for the European title in a Cage Warriors Academy title unifier. It's it's a blessing, really. Like I think it must have been about 24 hours after beating Christian and winning the belt. I messaged Jack asking for this fight. A lot of people didn't want to fight Sam. If you look at his record, he's only fought good guys because he's, let's be honest, he's got a very effective style for amateur MMA. So a lot of guys were ducking him, but that's not really my mentality. You know what I mean? Like when I won the British title, and I knew he had the European title fight that night, I knew in my head I'd be fighting the winner of that, regardless of who it was. So yeah, it was Sam, and obviously the storyline works. I just beat his teammate for the belt. So he has a shot to try and, do something about that. And, we'll get in there and we'll get it on. It's very exciting. Like you said, biggest fight of my career. So I'll put on the biggest performance of my career.
So my question, because obviously you mentioned there how he's friends with Christian. So I'm curious because I think there's two ways you can look at this. Do you see him being friends with Christian as a benefit to you or a disadvantage? The way I kind of mean that is a disadvantage. It could be Christian's giving him tips on how you fight in certain things. Obviously, Sam's seen that you beat Christian, think like Christian's really good. This guy must be very good to beat Christian. So, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't really. It's interesting. I'm kind of neutral towards that. I don't really think it's necessarily an advantage or a disadvantage. But you are right. I'd probably more lean in the favor of if someone beats your teammate and your teammate's very good, which Christian is a good fighter, so yeah, that's going to play on your mind, But at the same time, it's added motivation for him. He's getting that one back for his teammate, for his gym. So there's two sides of the coin. I mean? I don't really read into that too much. But of course, I'm going to bring it up. It's only playful, but like if you've got a win over a team, you're going to bring it up when you fight them again. But it's like there's a lot of respect. Obviously, I've already had a fight, so I know that I'm dealing with like a high level team that's going to bring it, and they know what I'm about. So we'll get in there and we'll put on a show. But yeah, I mean, it will have been spoke about.
I'm sure it will have been, mate. And so this has kind of been been the longest you've had to prepare for a fight, because I know when we last spoke, you were preparing for a fight. Unfortunately, that fell through. And so, how long do you usually say? Do you do sort of training camps? I know certain amateur fighters don't do training camps. What do you do on your side? Because it feels like you must have been preparing for a fight for quite a while now.
Yeah, I mean, this has been the most structured camp I've ever had. Like, I've got a nutritionist. I've got proper S&C with Sonny. I've got to shout out Aritz, my nutritionist. Sorry, I should have named him there. Coach Sonny for my S&C. Like, that's not even like a lot of these fighters are doing strength and conditioning where they're throwing a few like medicine balls around. Like, Sonny's got us like throwing up. You know what I mean? Like, it's vicious, but like it's the level. You know what I mean? You're never going to get pushed like that in a fight. So it's like I just know. I can push all day. Like my gas tank before working with Sonny felt unlimited. So now, I can push a crazy pace for this fight. And on top of that, obviously, Brad Pickett, Ashley Grimshaw as my MMA coaches. I couldn't ask for better coaches in the world. My training partners, Wesley Myers, another coach of mine. I get to train with him a lot as well. Mixing up with all of these different pros from all of the biggest organizations in the world. So it's been a high-level camp preparing me for a high-level performance. I mean, I really have left no stone unturned. I literally was in the gym from the Monday after beating Christian and have stayed in it since. I came out of that fight injury-free. So I feel like the leaps and bounds I've come on since my last fight is crazy. And just since the summer in general, this run of activities leveled me up to a new level. But I really do feel like this has been building towards Saturday night, what happened Saturday night. And I truly do believe it will be my standout performance. And it will be a performance that will set me up for very, very big things next year.
I remember when we last spoke for you when you were fighting for the Cage Warriors title, and you mentioned about Lonnie Kavanagh being in your corner. And what did you make of his debut? Because I thought he looked fantastic, but I think I was because I knew nothing about his opponent. I was expecting him to go out there and blow him out the water like he's done like pretty much everyone else in Cage Warriors. But it was an unbelievable back and forth fight. I thought both fighters showed like both fighters. I don't think either of them lost, if that makes sense. It was such a good fight to watch. And so, what did you make of his performance?
I thought it was a great performance. I think a lot of people, obviously in the UK and Europe, everyone knows how good Lonnie is. So, but the guy he was fighting, he came from Charles Oliveira's gym, I believe. You know, I've seen a good bit of stuff on him. So I feel like it's a win that's going to age very well. Like the guy he beat, it's almost like when Max Holloway and Conor McGregor fought early on when they were both unranked. I'm pretty sure, and then obviously they went on to both have great careers and etc. So. You know, I believe Lonnie's going to go all the way, but I think the guy he beats going to have a good career too, which obviously makes it look better for Lonnie. But, you know, like, there's just no better motivator than your own teammates doing it on the highest level. So, yeah, of course, you know, like, I'm always going to be cheering on for the boys, repping the gym. You know what I mean? It's great to watch. It's a privilege.
And Maya got a big win against Alexander Loof, if I'm fairly recent. Is that correct? I believe, yeah.
Yeah, that was unbelievable. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, I got a lot of love for Wes. You know what I mean? He's someone who's like my coach. He's took me under his wing, built me up. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, very good guy, and yeah, like seeing him doing well, like, you know, it motivates me. But yeah, what a win finishing Loof, who's an outstanding fighter. So hopefully they put Wes back in there for the belt, and yeah, he does his thing.
I know we've kind of spoke about off camera a little bit, but obviously you've seen your teammates and other fighters in your gym going pro. Win or lose, is this going to be your last amateur fight?
I would like it to be. I believe with the performance which I'm certain I'm about to put on, I believe that this would set me up for turning pro. But we'll see. Winning the belt, obviously there's options there to defend it against big names. But we'll see. If it was up to me, when I finish him, I believe that it'll be time for me to go pro. So that's what I would say. But you never know. But yeah, keep your eyes on December the 7th because all will be revealed.
And let's say you did go pro. Would the goal to be to go straight to Cage Warriors? Is that like the only promotion you're kind of looking at the moment? Because obviously you've got the Cage Warriors Academy title. To me, Cage Warriors it's the best starting place for any young fighters, any young pro's career. So is Cage Warriors where you're looking to go pro next?
Obviously, you know, I'll keep my options open.
Mhm.
But yeah, it would be nice. It would be logical. Do you know what I mean? It seems to be the path that a lot of people, not just from my gym, have followed, but in general, the Cage Warriors Academy title leads to a Cage Warriors pro contract for a debut. But you know, having two of them, I'd assume I'd be able to do the same thing. But yeah, Cage Warriors, it's iconic in Europe. You know, the yellow gloves. I feel like every fighter wants to have that as part of their resume. So yeah, and obviously they do a lot of shows in London, you know, and I'm always fighting on the road away from London. I'd love a home fight in London. Do you know what I mean? And the idea of like a pro debut at O2 at the Indigo for Cage Warriors sounds great to me. So we'll see what happens.
It's funny you mention those yellow gloves. Me, I've never had a fight in my life. Even I want a pair of them yellow gloves. I think the yellow gloves looks. I think they're my favorite gloves in the whole of MMA. They're better looking than UFC gloves. I think. I love those Cage Warriors yellow. They look so good.
Yeah. No, I'm always eyeing up. Like a bunch of the lads at the gym have them, obviously, and when they're training in them, I'm like, soon come I'll have my own pair, you know. Yeah, I mean, like you said, like it's the best place to make your name on Cage Warriors. You know, if you beat guys on Cage Warriors, you will make it to the UFC. It's proven. Do you know what I mean? Where there's other shows, you know, where there's you know different incentives for fighting on them, other big shows, but they haven't got that proven route to the UFC that Cage Warriors does. So it would be logical. But you know, like, or even this conversation excites me more for Saturday night because it's like stood between the prospects of me going pro, being a European champion, and achieving the things I want to achieve in the sport is a man called Sam Hadley. So on Saturday night, I'll put him away.
And we kind of spoke off camera about how this is if you win on Saturday, it's kind of like a full circle moment. Because after when we first met at Unity, you'd lost to Ellis Pilkington, and you said that after and then we spoke in an interview afterwards, you were like, "I want to win the British title and the European title," and you're one fight away from that, and it feels like that fight was just yesterday against Ellis. So you've come such a long way in such a short amount of time. So as a friend, I want to say that I'm very proud of you, mate. You're doing something very special here, and I think a win on Saturday, you go at the very top, mate, the very, very top.
And I really appreciate that, Rob. Like we spoke about before, that night was quite a turning point for me. Obviously, like 2 fights scared, but like I just had that feeling. I knew I was going to turn things around. And I said to you after the interview, like my plan is to just get active, fight on Cage Warriors Academy regularly, and win the British and European titles. And like you said, we're now just a few days away from me making that a reality. So yeah, it's a great feeling. The hard work is paying off. The self-belief and sticking and trusting sticking to and trusting the process. You know what I mean? And it's just made a hell of a lot easier with having such a great team that I do. And just in general, I've got good people around me, and I'm living this life, and it all builds towards me becoming a British and European champion, unified on Saturday night. You know what I mean? Live on pay-per-view, or if you want to come along in person and watch it, there's tickets available. Do you know what I mean? It's very exciting times.
And I remember looking at your Instagram after your last win. My last two questions aren't really related to the fight as much, but I remember looking at your Instagram, and I saw you were tucking into a big fat Mackey's. Is that your go-to like post fight meal?
Oh mate, yeah. It's normally the only thing that's open, and like
Yeah, that is true.
It's a
Yeah,
great conversation now. Do you know what I mean? Like it's fight week. I'm eating good with the nutritionist. I'm eating better than ever before, and I'm lighter than ever before. So can't really complain. As far as it's as good as it gets in fight week for me now, in terms of food. But yeah, I literally, it is like I've been doing a lot of steps as part of like the making the weight. It makes it easier. Yeah, but I've been walking around. It's Christmas time. Do you know what I mean? So there's all the like festive food, everything out, and I walk past all the different shops smelling it. So I've got a good few spots lined up for after this fight. Yeah, lots of calories, bro, over this Christmas, I tell you.
And my final question is, I've got some different categories here, and I want you to build your perfect MMA fighter. So I'll go through the categories, and you give me a name per one. Right, so we'll start with striking. Who would you take for striking?
Oh. Okay. Out of that's a very good question. Right. For striking, I want to play a little. Out of orthodox stance, Anderson Silva. Out of southpaw stance, Conor McGregor. But prime Conor McGregor.
Good answer. And then wrestling's next.
Wrestling. Ooh. In terms of, that is a very good question. Brad Pickett.
I think for a while he was the only person who could take down Demetrius Johnson. So yeah, that's a good answer. And then right next is grappling.
Grappling. Oh, it have to be someone like Damian Maia or Damian Maia. What in terms of just pure jiu-jitsu? Yeah,
just pure jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, Damian Maia in the UFC. Yeah.
And then we've got whose chin would you take?
Chin. Oh.
Yeah.
It would have been Max Holloway, but you know what I mean. There's no shame.
There's no shame to watch.
I'm trying to think of one that has got to be Nate Diaz.
Yeah, Nate Diaz is a good one. Do you know who I think I don't like watching him fight, but I think who's got a very good chin at the moment? Marvin Vettori in middleweight. He's fought some of the biggest hitters. I don't think I've ever seen him wobble, let alone hurt. He just doesn't seem to get hurt. So I think he's always one I go to for that. Right, next is cardio.
Cardio. That's a good one. Oh, that's probably Nate Diaz as well, to be honest. Or like Michael Bisping, never got tired in fights. Yeah, I'd say those.
Yeah, Bisping's a good one. And then finally, is personality.
Personality. Ooh. In terms of pure, it's hard. You know what I mean? In terms of personality, in terms of like just being a likable guy, like Volkanovski. Do you know what I mean? He's cool, but like in terms of entertainment value, it's got to be like Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
It depends what you're going for. But I'd go for Volkanovski. Do you know what I mean? How can you not like him? So.
Right. Yeah. I think I think that's a pretty good fight. I want to fight that fight. I put it that way.
Yeah. That's a lethal fighter there.
Right, so that was my final question, mate. I don't want to take up too much of your time. Plus, I think this call's about to end in about 3 minutes anyway. It's about to kick us off anyway, so we might as well end it there. So before we end it, I'll give you a chance to shout out your Instagram and shout out your socials, mate.
It's Dacre_Bradley on Instagram. That's the only one I'm active on. Give it a follow to stay updated. And yeah, tune in Saturday night to watch the performance that is going to top this year off and make a lot of noise.
Right. You heard the man. Cage Warriors Academy unified title fight Saturday, December 7th. Get your tickets. Watch on pay-per-view. Dacre, thanks very much for coming on, mate.
Thanks, Rob, bro. Thank you.